A truly dominant performance from Arsenal, going away to the Bernabeu, one of the scariest places for a footballer to visit, and putting in a shift like that is absolutely unbelievable. I feel like I could single out a lot of Arsenal players after today's game, but the first person I want to talk about is Declan Rice. The man who has won man of the match 2 games in a row against Real Madrid. In the first leg at the Emirates, it was those goals, but it was also a dominant performance. Those free kicks were unbelievable, gave him the advantage going into the Bernabeu, where today his defensive performance, his ability to read the game cannot be understated. I think there's a real argument forming now for Declan Rice, especially if Arsenal continue to perform like this and he does in this tournament, that Declan Rice is the best centre midfielder in the world right now. Because not only can he do it going forward, but he is quality defensively. He just read the game so well today. Every Madrid attack, he was there waiting. He was putting good passes forwards. Honestly, I'm so happy that he's English. Going into the next tournament, obviously he's going to start every game, but it gives us such an advantage. And I feel maybe people, Europeans, etc., who don't watch the Premier League week in, week out, probably don't see Declan Rice at that level. You know, they heard of Rodri, you see Pedri over at Barca, etc., who were fantastic players within their own right, and maybe if Rodri was fit, the footballing world in the Premier League and the Champions League would have turned out very differently this season, but he's not. And that's why, for me, Declan Rice is probably the best centre mid in the world right now. A big statement. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree. If you're a football fan, please do remember to like and subscribe as well. But a few very interesting moments from today's game. Arsenal won a penalty in the first half, which could have taken them 1-0 up. Bukayo Saka steps up to take it and decides to Panenka it, which leads to a pretty decent save from Courtois, but one you'd expect him to make once he's dived the right way. I have no idea why Saka decided to do that. I understand, confidence, belief in yourself, but a Panenka against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu when it's 0-0 is a bold move. To be honest, it was a pretty weak penalty. I'm not sure if I would have given it myself. And then about 10-15 minutes later, Real Madrid get awarded a penalty for something very similar. Both of them were weak. I can see why Madrid fans would be pissed off that Arsenal won theirs. I can see why Arsenal fans would have been pissed off if Madrid kept theirs, because they didn't. The referee overturned the decision, and that got a tasty reaction in the Bernabeu. Both of them could have been given. Both of them couldn't have been. I suppose because neither ended up in the back of the net, it didn't matter so much. And to be honest, I've heard a lot of talk all this week about how much Madrid are going to show up. Even one of their official accounts on Twitter earlier today posting 90 minutes is a long time at the Bernabeu. And I must admit, I've built up a real hatred for Madrid. I know that they are one of, if not the most legendary football club in the world. I know that they are the kings of the Champions League, but I find it quite satisfying that even the official accounts, the official rhetoric, and the entire media around football is still going, oh no, there's a pretty good chance that they can overturn a 3-0 lead against Arsenal. And then Arsenal go there and absolutely decimate them. There wasn't a moment today that Madrid threatened them. In the first half, they didn't even have a shot on target. That is truly disgraceful from them. They've got one of the best, one of the most valuable, and generally one of the most productive front threes in world football. Not getting a shot on target in the first half when you're 3-0 down at home and really need to pull it out the bag is shocking, to be honest. And then even in the second half, they didn't get up to much. We'll quickly touch on the first Arsenal goal, which was a great bit of team play that led to a fantastic finish from Saka, who effectively made up for his earlier stupid decision with the Panenka. But a few passes around the Arsenal team on the edge of the box put Saka through, who calmly dinks it over one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Honestly, balls of steel on that boy. The fact that he can go miss a penalty and then still have the nerve to take a finish like that on is so impressive. I remember in the build-up to the first leg, some reporters were asking him, do you think you're on the same level as Vinicius, Mbappe, etc.? How far away do you think you are from their level? And Saka looked offended. And I can see why, because he's had a few injury issues over the last few years. But whenever he has been playing, undoubtedly one of the best wingers in the world. Fantastic today other than the penalty, and that was a great finish. And then what felt like 30 seconds later, Saliba makes his first and one of 2 mistakes in the game, and just grants Vinicius Jr. a goal. I suppose if Arsenal hadn't just scored, it might have led to a bit more of a comeback and a bit more fear within the Arsenal ranks. But because it just made it 1-1, it didn't really matter, did it? And Vinicius Jr. today, to say he's a player who was nominated for the Ballon d'Or and threw an absolute hissy fit when he found out he wasn't going to win it and then didn't win it, looked completely oblivious. There was no reason for him being on the pitch. He didn't offer anything. I know he got the 1 Madrid goal, but apart from that, which was effectively a gift, he did nothing. Same with Mbappe, really. None of the Madrid attackers looked particularly good. Jude Bellingham, who obviously I have a slight soft spot for because he's English, the most he did today was just get angry a couple times and throw himself about. And really, that's the most Madrid did. They were quite dirty with it. A fair few bookings. I think after about half an hour, 2 of the defenders were already booked. But attacking-wise, they offered very little. But that was also due to Arsenal's defensive performance, which was, again, insane today. Jurrien Timber at the back was an absolute rock, stopped Vinicius doing anything for the whole game. Other than that one mistake and 1 or 2 little missed kicks, Saliba was fantastic. Kivior, who I've not really seen a whole lot from, slots right in there. Obviously, Gabriel's now seen as one of the best defenders in the Premier League. And Kivior doesn't look out of place at all in that defence. And then Miles Lewis-Skelly, young lad, absolutely tearing it up. Doesn't look out of place at the Bernabeu. Has had an amazing run in this Arsenal team. Honestly, when watching that performance today, it makes me question how they haven't done so well in the Premier League this year. Like, I understand Liverpool have had a very good season, but Arsenal have certainly dropped off a little bit, and even their recent Premier League results haven't been fantastic. So how can they go put a shift in like this against the current Champions League holders that are still very much challenging for La Liga, but then go draw to Brentford, etc.? It doesn't add up. However, I won't take anything away from them today, and they managed to get the win in the end. With a Martinelli goal, he absolutely turned the burners on and placed that ball calmly into the corner in the 92nd minute just to seal it off. I was very happy about this, not because I'm an Arsenal fan, not because it's particularly them beating Real Madrid, but just because they deserve the result. Those fans have travelled from London or wherever in the world to go to the Bernabeu and watch the team absolutely dominate. So I think they certainly deserve the win. And realistically, over the course of 2 legs, a 5-1 victory over Real Madrid is a real statement. And it is the best thing I think I've seen Arsenal do in my entire life. The best performance, the best on-paper result. I mean, really, it should have been 6-1 if Saka would have tucked away that penalty. Truly mind-boggling. And now they've got PSG in the next round. You saw a few weaknesses from PSG yesterday against Aston Villa. I know deflected goals, etc., but you can see they can be got at. However, bar Arsenal, I'd also say that they have been the joint best team in this competition so far. Watching that PSG team has been a breath of fresh air in the football world. I feel like they actually allow individuals to try beat a man and have a special moment. Can Arsenal get past them? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see them at least make it to the final. Very tricky one to predict, though. I will be doing a Champions League prediction video very soon where I try to predict who's actually going to make it to the final and who's going to win. So please do hit like and subscribe. Stick around for that, and I will catch you again next time. Peace.